State Ethics Commission looking to raise a stink about stinky raises for May and city councillors. Koch maladministration spin notwithstanding, the recent stink over grifting approvals of an outsized 89% raise for City of Quincy Mayor Thomas P. Koch, as well as 45% raises for city councillors, and on top of 33% raises for councillors less than 2 years ago, and so working out to a 93% raises for them, is looking to become even stinker as the heat is looking to be turned up on those who tried to pig out at the public trough. How stinky hot, potentially wicked stinky, seriously wicked stinky. For starters, the State Ethics Commission has apparently seen Mayor Koch and City Council President Ian Kane misleadingly announce that they were deferring the raises given local public outcry over their griftings of fat raises, when in point of fact the deferral were all but assuredly but first steps imposed by the Ethics Commission. In extension, QuincyQuarry News has succeeded in exclusively securing an unequivocal confirmation from the Ethics Commission that it is, in fact, investigating how approving the raises went down earlier this year in clear, as well as ultimately indisputable violations of Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 268A, Section 19. Accordingly, Quincy Mayor Thomas P. Koch and city councillors are open to possibly end up facing prosecution for felony charges based upon their endeavoring personal enrichment while mired in obvious conflicts of interest. And as for the seriousness of possible charges, Chapter 268A, Section 19 calls for sanctions of either as much as a $10,000 fine or up to 5 years of prison. In other words, potentially government pension-stripping felony conviction sanctions. Granted, councillors and the mayor likely will opt to blame City Solicitor James Dim Timmons for his profoundly bad read of applicable laws. This dog likely won't hunt, however. For starters, the solicitor has a long history of often losing City of Quincy cases at trial, as well as an apparent perfect record of ending up on the losing with cases that he has appealed. Accordingly, councillors should have duly pressed the mayor's consigliere, especially as many of his statements retarding the raises were at best fractional truths which for the most part failed to hold up in the light of day. That or at least opted to reach out for an outside review. Instead, the council voted overwhelming to approve the raises that included 45% raises for themselves, and so yet again proving themselves to basically be rubber stamp tools on stools and so at the ready to provide cover for whatever the mayor wants. Further, there is the problem of how this was not the first time that such apparent grifting has not only been endeavored, but also consummated on multiple previous occasions, and which QuincyQuarry exclusively knows that the Ethics Commission will be considering, not to mention that such patterns or practices does pose further problems for the grifters. After all, not once, not twice, but 5 instances over the years is a compelling indicator as regards intent, not to mention screams RICO if the feds end up taking up matters. Granted, pursuing felony convictions is unlikely, however well warranted. It is only reasonable to pose that any consent agreements will entail clear acknowledgments of errant ways, many thousands of dollars in fines, and the return of serious ill-gotten gains is not only to be expected. That, and by extension also the likely end of a number of political careers up the event of various local elected officials facing voters if they run for re-election, if not sooner by resignation, are at least in the realm of plausible.